formed a relationship with one of the world's most evil serial killers.
Describe him as a father figure.
He says he fights his urges.
I started to collect replica human faces.
But could he?
He pulled a knife on your sister Jennifer.
One day
there was literally blood all over the floor.
Be a serial killer?
I did go searching for a streetwalker to take at least part of her home, the head.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave us a comment, and definitely share the video. Got a special guest on today that was on Dr. Phil previously and some other shows. We ended up connecting because I had left a comment on, a YouTube video that he had up with his YouTube channel. And he became friends with a dude from my city named Arthur Shawcross. Arthur Shawcross was a serial killer who killed numerous prostitutes in my city. He was a cannibal. He did some crazy, crazy things. But today we're bringing on John Paul Fay. I'm going to let John introduce himself and tell you a little bit about him and where he's from. But definitely think that you guys might like this video. John, tell the people who you are. Tell them where you're from. Talk a little bit about you.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm John Paul Fay. I'm first and foremost a writer, a journalist, author. And lately, the past few years, it's been true crime, my focus. I'm from East Boston and been a native of Boston all my life. And I'm here now in East Boston. Let's see. Basically, yeah, I've lived on the outskirts of life, we'll say, my whole life. Come from an extremely dysfunctional family. And, ended up an addict myself, kind of alcoholic, an addict of basically every single substance known to mankind. At one point or another. Let's see, yeah, been in and out of various jails and hospitals for my substance abuse issues. And and there's a lot to it. That's the basics of it, I guess. That's the gist. But again, first and foremost, I am a writer since I was 9 years old. And I just kind of went to the dark side a little bit, to a great extent, to a point of, becoming more or less best friends with one of America's most notorious serial killers and admitted cannibals, Arthur Shawcross from upstate New York, and he passed away in 2008. So, yeah.
So, I'm from Rochester, right? And I actually met Arthur Shawcross when I was a kid because I used to carry salmon fish up Seth Green Drive for $1 a fish. And he used to fish down there a lot. Did you know that he fished down there?
Yeah, I knew that he did a lot of fishing. I didn't know, exactly where, but I knew that he was fond of fishing.
And actually, he killed someone that was really close to my mother. It was one of my mother's best friends, if not her best friend when they were kids, Dorothy Blackburn. He also killed my uncle's wife's sister, Franny Brown. And I was there that day when she was found. So, me and you talking, it's an interesting, video, interesting to be able to talk to you. Let me ask you this. When Arthur was in prison, right? You two met while he was in prison, right?
Correct. Yes.
Tell the people how you met Arthur Shawcross.
Well, yeah, it's kind of, I guess, a unique situation. We met in 2000, and he actually wrote to me because I had been selling some of his artwork on eBay that I had got in some interesting trades. I used to, as well as accepting money for my business, of course, in a traditional sense. I used to take interesting trades, and in one of those trades, I ended up with some of his artwork, which I decided to resell. And basically, he found out about this, got my information, and he sent me a letter asking me where I'd gotten the artwork and this and that. And I wrote back, and we basically befriended each other, but also he ended up with a business deal where he'd do more artwork for me. I'd sell it on eBay, and we'd split the proceeds, 50-50. And being kind of in some ways similar mindsets, he became kind of like a dark counselor of mine, if you were, one of the only people I could talk to about certain things. And we just carried on from there for several years and until just about before his death. But yeah, he's the one who reached out to me first, and we just hit it off from there.
You and Arthur Shawcross, you guys become friends. You said he's kind of like a dark counselor for you.
Right.
I want to ask you some questions about that, but I also want to ask you some questions about him. He was in New York State prison. He first was sentenced to 25 years for killing 2 kids, right? In Syracuse?
Yeah. And just for the record, that's something I'm adamantly against. By the way, that's not something I identify with, or that's something I would fight against. But that being said, yes, he was initially convicted for that, and he was actually released because he made a deal where he was put away for one of the kids' murders and not both. It's my understanding, right? So he did get out, unbelievably. I can't believe it. But he carried on with murders after that. But he went to killing women, adults, and mainly prostitutes and homeless women.
Did he ever tell you why he was killing people? Was it an urge? I mean, I knew he was in Vietnam and he did some crazy things in Vietnam. Did he ever tell you like why he killed people? Did he have a feeling inside? Was it something that made him want to do it?
Yeah, my understanding is it basically stemmed from rage. It would be sudden anger or rage. He'd be in the course of sexual relations or whatever relations with a woman, and then kind of snap, as they say, and start choking her to death, or strangling her to death. But my understanding was it would be a sudden rage that may have come from his relationship with his own mother, where she was apparently abusive towards him in sexual ways as well. That makes sense.
Did you ever go to the prison to visit him?
Yeah, just once, and I had pictures of that. But when I went to jail in New York myself, the hotel manager, I'd been staying at a hotel for a while. He threw out all my correspondence with him and everything that I had left. But yeah, just once. And then it was mainly just phone calls and letter correspondence.
Do you think he was a scary guy?
Yeah, he was scary in the sense that he had no empathy. He was a pure psychopath. And they say that what makes somebody human is to have empathy. So technically he wasn't human. That's why they kind of compare him to a reptilian mindset. Basically, he just didn't have that empathy in him. So in that sense, yeah, he was a big guy, physically big, but definitely a psychopath.
Did you ever ask him if he regretted some of the stuff that he had done?
I never asked him that, but I don't get the sense that he did. I don't think he had that in him to regret it.
He never expressed that or any sorrow, nothing?
No. But he did seem to have love for his daughter, Maggie. His love for his daughter seemed to be genuine, at least to me. It seemed that way.
It seemed like it was a legitimate love for his daughter.
Yeah, right. And I'm still friends with her, too.
So he had love for his daughter, but he could easily go out and kill other people's daughters.
Yeah, strangely enough, right. He could separate the two like that and compartmentalize, right?
Like you said, psychopath, right? Dangerous guy, probably had no care for anybody's life.
No.
What about prison? I mean, because this is a, prison-based show, and we have a mission to save kids from life imprisonment, premature death. We're going outside the bounds today by talking to you.
Of course, yeah, right.
So let me ask you this. On prison, did he ever express like, man, I wish I could get out of here, or was prison bothering him? I mean, did he have an urge to get out because he wanted to kill other women? I mean, was there ever a point where he's like, man, I want to get out of prison?
No, he never expressed that to me. He seemed pretty comfortable in prison, actually. It didn't seem to bother him, really.
He wasn't able to kill people in prison, though, right?
No, he wasn't. Men weren't his interest anyway. His main interest was killing women, anyhow.
His main interest was killing women, but now he's in a prison. So the urge to kill, did it just go away? Or did he ever tell you, hey, I still have an urge to kill, but I'm stuck here?
No, it was still part of his personality. And he didn't express it that way, like he was stuck there. But it was always, we would discuss it. He would talk about, he would seem to reminisce, about strangling the women, that he murdered, that type of thing.
I remember, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, like I say, it just never seems to really leave a person. It's always there under the surface. But yeah.
And I remember, in New York State, you could have conjugal visits. I remember he was married, wasn't he?
Yes, he was actually married, yes. And I think that marriage lasted until up to his death, if I remember right. I could be a little off on that.
I do remember reading an article in our paper about Arthur Shawcross. He applied for conjugal visits, and he was denied because of his crime. And they usually don't deny anyone conjugal visits, but I don't believe they allowed him to have conjugal visits with his wife because, he was a serial killer, a serial rapist, obviously.
Right.
So, do you agree that he was a serial rapist?
Yeah, That's a good question. I don't think really that was first and foremost on his mind. I think he just actually got off on the murders themselves, really, in my opinion.
So now you talked about him. He kind of became like a dark counselor for you. Explain that to the people a little more.
Yeah, that's fine. So basically, with my own mindset, that again, I am a writer, but also I developed a very kind of a brutal mindset over time. I guess in some ways similar to Jeffrey Dahmer, I suppose. And there's so few people you could talk to about that type of thing, of course. Like, and I've had actual therapists, but you can only talk to them about so much, and they'll lock you up potentially.
Yeah.
And so he surfaced in my life, and I was able to talk to him about these type of thoughts and feel safe about that, and just and it helped to just get that out. Just talking about it, I think helped to alleviate a lot of that. So and he wasn't judgmental or anything along those lines about it, and so he was kind of a safe place to go, if you will, to talk about that type of thing.
So you said kind of like a Jeffrey Dahmer type of thing. He was actually kidnapping younger boys and teenagers and killing them and eating them, right?
And I mean the general mindset, but Dahmer was mostly into men. There were younger people, teenagers and whatnot, too, in there. But my thing is mainly in the sense, and my focus wasn't men. It was mostly in my darker times were females and of the same age as myself. But it was mostly with him, Dahmer, about loneliness. He was, and it was to alleviate the loneliness he felt, and he was basically collecting people to killing for company has been a term that's been used. So just mainly in that sense, but that's why I say that.
That's a pretty John. That's a pretty dark side, and shocking to me, shocking to the people that will be watching the show. So. Yeah. The Jeffrey Dahmer thing, what, you felt like you wanted to eat people? You wanted to be a cannibal?
Yeah, there were times when I was 15, and I wrote about this in the book, the Shawcross letters. I suddenly developed an urge, like, I don't know, it like came out of nowhere, where it suddenly made sense to maybe, partake in, eating human flesh. I don't know where it came from, but it seemed suddenly like a normal thing that surfaced in me. And I carry that for many years, actually, that type of mentality. Thankfully, in my latter years here, I've gotten past that. I really have for the most part, anyway. Like I say, you never entirely get away from it, somewhere in there. But for a long time, I did carry that type of mentality with me. Yeah.
Do you think that was wrong?
If I were to have gone out and actually murder people and do these things, I know that would have been wrong for sure. As far as eating people in itself, I don't know. There are tribes throughout the world that have done that for ritual purposes and that type of thing. And I don't know. It's a judgment call. I
gotta stop you, man. I gotta stop you.
All right.
People did that, in different tribes and all that type of stuff. But we live in a civilized society now. You have to understand that it's not cool to go around and obviously kill people and eat people. And I mean, it's not right, man. It's just not right.
No. I agree. That's why I ended up not doing it. So it worked out for the best, I guess.
Yeah. Well, thank God. Let me ask you this then. You've been to jail before, right?
Yeah.
Been to prison?
Yeah, jails, several jails, yeah.
Did you ever tell anybody in jail that you felt like doing that type of stuff?
No, I basically am more... well, actually, in the last jail in New York, that was kind of an open thing. They put me in closed maximum security. They are actually, the guards there are actually watching my Dr. Phil segment as they were booking me into the jail, believe it or not. And so seeing that, I guess, I don't know, made them kind of nervous. And the cop who arrested me said I was the most unstable human being, mentally unstable human being he'd ever come across. Because I was making fun of that cop and whatnot while he was booking me into the police station there. And but it was pretty much open. There was only one other inmate in there with me. And, so that was pretty much open, that I'd been on Dr. Phil and what I was about and that type of deal. But, they got a kick out of it, referred to me as like half a serial killer and that type of thing. But that was fun for me. I mean, that wasn't a big deal. The other jails, no, though. That was the only, this most recent jail stay in Mohawk, New York. Yeah.
How long ago was that?
Let's see, 2018. Yeah.
That was your last time in jail.
Yeah, right.
And what were you in jail for? I'm curious.
It was technically criminal mischief. Criminal mischief. It was initially criminal trespass and criminal mischief. They knocked it down to criminal mischief. I was basically going to an old, my ex-girlfriend's house trying to get a coat back that I had, a leather jacket. And I knew it was going to go sideways, but, you know, she had a new boyfriend already, and I accidentally broke the window in the door with my, you know, breaking, you know, knocking on the door there, whatever I was doing, cut my hand open, and was got into a fight with her boyfriend a little bit there. I was arrested, and yeah, so that was just brought down, like I say, to criminal mischief, and I was only there for a month. It was I needed that month anyway to get my head straight and figure out what I was going to do.
Did you win the fight?
Yeah, it was. I was on top of it, but the girlfriend was on top of me also, and so the cops came in to break it up. The cops were there pretty quickly. Yes, yeah. I mean, I'm. That's something I'm trained to do. One of my favorite things is, I guess, to strangle holds and choke people. So that worked out for me.
Jesus, let me ask you: you ever been assaulted in jail?
No. I've been left alone in jail because anytime I've been in there, it hasn't been for you know, what you'd consider bad charges or anything. You know, it was always things either like being mischievous like that, if you will, or you know, like where I stabbed my best friend, that type of deal. So I seemed to, I wasn't bothered in the times I was in jail. I got along with people.
Let me stop you for a minute. You talked about you were stabbing your best friend. How long? How much time? Hold on. How much time did you go to jail for stabbing your best friend?
Believe it or not, that was only another month because the case was dismissed. He never showed up to court. You know, that's you know, like a Christmas morning for a young child when your so-called victim doesn't show up to court. You know, that's a good day.
How many times did you stab him?
I stabbed him in the throat, and apparently, according to the paramedic who was on the scene, like a millimeter closer, and I would have hit the jugular or carotid, and he would have bled out. But yeah, I mean, you know, in all fairness, he had stabbed me first, you know, so I guess in a way it was more or less self-defense. But again, that worked out too. It's nice when the so-called victim doesn't show up to court. He was a bad character anyway, you know, so if he had died, it would have been probably a good thing for society.
Yeah. Wow. Did you enjoy stabbing him?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I found after I'd done that it was a very relaxed feeling. Like I wasn't scared or anything. I felt very calm about it, and like I'd accomplished something. So it's yeah, it was kind of scary in a way to find out about myself, but kind of also good to know. You know, it's.
How old were you?
Let's see. Oh, I was later in my life, 36 at the time. Yeah.
Wow. 36. So why, you know, you've been in jail. Did you ever think while you were in jail, like, man, this sucks?
Yeah, there were times, especially when they had me away initially from general population. They had me in the medical unit to detox from alcohol, you know, because I'm prone to seizures. So when I was there by myself, especially, I said, geez, even if I won the lottery, I'd give up all that money just to be back out in the street, you know. So I did have that. But other than that, it wasn't so bad. I mean, like this last stay in New York, it was better. I had a better time in there than the time I'd spent with my so-called girlfriend. That I spent a couple months there with her. And it was way more relaxed, and I was happy to have a bed and not be on the street or anything. So, and that goes for times I was in hospitals and other jails too. I found it gave me time to think and kind of regroup. So it wasn't that bad for me, you know. Not that I want to go back. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, if you ever acted on your impulses, I mean, you'd be spending the rest of your life in prison. Does that ever enter your mind? Like, wow, I could spend the rest of my life in prison if I were to act on this?
Yeah, there's no question I'd be doing 1,000 years at least, but you know, thankfully I have yet to do that. Although Ed Gein didn't start killing, you know, until he was in his 50s or so. You know, Ed Gein, upstate Wisconsin killer, Jeffrey Dahmer, also being from Wisconsin. Ed Gein, they based you know, Leatherface on him, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, loosely, of course, and Psycho.
Let me say this: I'm really hopeful, man, that you never ever get in your 50s and act on those impulses and things like that, man.
Yeah. Let's hope and pray.
I mean, I spent almost 18 years of my life in federal prison. Let me tell you something, man. Prison's not a joke. You know, the county jails that you're in, you know, if you were to go to jail for something like that, man, and you're white And if you were to come into a prison where I was at and I was the shot caller and you had that type of crime, it would not be good for you. Do you understand that?
Yeah, no, I get that. That's why, people like that who do these things, they normally separate from the rest of the population. Apparently, Jeffrey Dahmer got bored being in solitary, and he requested to be put in general population. That's where he was ultimately killed, of course. But yeah, that's understandable, certainly. But again, that's one of the reasons I decided to take the right road, rather than take that avenue.
You're from the Boston area. You're from Mass, right?
Yeah.
Around the Cape and all that. So Whitey Bulger, right? You said, they usually put you in a special place, solitary confinement. You see what happened to Whitey, right?
Yeah. I don't know if that was an intentional accident, quote unquote, or what. But yeah, I definitely see what happened to him at the end of the day.
They do that. It's not on accident. They do it all the time.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I totally agree. Yeah.
Especially in federal prison. And if you were to go into a federal prison, which you probably wouldn't for that type of crime, but unless you cross state lines, then they could. If you were to come into a maximum security federal prison, and I'm sure you know this, a lot of things in federal prison are racially segregated. So if you were to come to federal prison, they would probably put you on the compound with us. And being that you're from the East Coast, let's say we were in USP Lee and I was the shot caller at that time, and you came in there, and I was the shot caller for the white dudes. And I'm not saying this to disrespect you, but man, I had the authority to have you destroyed, man, and I would have because of your crimes.
Yeah.
And they would want you. They would hold on. The cops would want us to do that. And I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about where they just they beat you up. I'm talking about where you're getting stabbed. You might get stabbed in the eyes. It's going to be painful. It's not. It doesn't just end quick. Sometimes, but not always.
I mean, me personally, I would hope for that anyway. I mean, rather than face a sentence like that. I mean, I am suicidal anyway myself, and I've already cut myself wide open left and right. So mostly nobody could do anything to me that I haven't done to myself anyway, to be quite honest with you.
No, I understand that. But John, what I'm telling you is, man, you don't want that. You don't want to, you really.
Oh, no, I know. I wouldn't go. I agree.
I just want you to do the right thing, man. I want you to stay out here and live your life and be normal and be able to eat your own food, real food.
I know, I agree. Oh, yeah, I'm with you on that, 1,000,000%. Yeah.
Enjoy life, drive around, do the things that make you happy, man.
Right,
so,
right. Yeah, oh, yeah.
We started off with your buddy Arthur Shawcross, man. What can you tell us about him that maybe the public doesn't know? I'm from here. This is my city. He did this in my city. And there's probably families out there that have unanswered questions, man. And if they do and they're watching the video, I want them to ask us some questions on the comments. Maybe we'll bring you back on and ask you. I mean, is there anything that he told you that you haven't released to the public, or anything that, he would tell you? Talk to us. Tell us.
Well, I guess just, the FBI suspected him of murder. He was convicted, his most recent conviction for 250 years, for 12 murders, I believe. And the FBI, thought he might be responsible for 19 at least. And Shawcross told me it was a lot more than that. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. That's what he told me. And of course, he told me things he had done in Vietnam when he was over there during the war, where he went off on his own and, killed some females and roasted parts of them and ate those parts. He was telling me about that. And so, yeah, things along those lines that he had told me. And, he gave me a list of victims, and some of whom they weren't on the official list. So, I mean, whether those were women he actually murdered or not, I don't know for sure, like I said. But again, that's what he had told me.
Where did he? Where were these women killed at? Were they killed in Rochester, in other states, different cities?
My understanding, it was in a New York area.
Okay. Yeah. So there might be some missing women somewhere that he actually killed, man, that they've never found and don't know who killed them. Yeah. Do you think he was a crazy dude?
Yeah, I think he was crazy and in a psychopathic sense, and more of a base character, I guess. Again, like reptilian. I guess of a reptilian, lesser than human, if that makes any sense.
Lesser than human, and people need to know that these are the type of people that when you make bad choices, you're a young man right now, or you make a bad choice, you go to prison. These are the people that you could be around. Arthur Shawcross could have been somebody's cellmate.
Yeah.
He could be someone's cellmate. What happens when they're locked in a cell with Arthur Shawcross or a person like that, and he gets angry at 1 o'clock in the morning and there's no cops?
Well, that's true. That's true. I think that's why they probably kept him by himself. He was in general population, is my understanding, but he had his own cell.
He was in general population, but let me tell you something. Even in New York State prison, they got double bunks on every tier. Well, they used to. The first 4 or 5 cells in maximum security prisons, when they started that, they were trying to give away free TVs and lamps. Someone could be in a cell with them. Or, even in general population, you could be at recreation with them. This isn't like a babysitter. These cops aren't watching every single person. They let you go out and you freely do what you want throughout the prison. And, you can end up dead. You can end up dead working in the laundry. You can end up dead in the back of the mess hall working with Arthur Shawcross. I want people to know that these are the type of people that you will be in prison with if you do not make the right choices. It's not to scare people. It's not to scare these young kids that are making bad choices. It's just to give them the reality, man. This is the reality of it, John.
Let's see. In regard to going to jail, it is a horrible, cold, and gray place. And, and I would definitely rather be out here. And that's why there's things I do hold back on, and hold off on. I like to be able to walk whenever I want, to, eat whatever I want, things like that. And if that's one of the reasons I did come out with the book and on Dr. Phil. So, if people do have these types of thoughts, as I have, to seek help for it, to talk to somebody, talk to a therapist or whatever, because it's not worth going down that road. It really is ugly, because once you're in it, it is very difficult to come out of it, as far as, the legal system and that type of deal. It's miserable. It is miserable, at the end of the day. So, yeah. And, but that is one of the main reasons I did come out and was honest about everything. So, I have talked to other people who do have these types of thoughts too. I said, you don't act on them. It's better off just looking for help, before you act on these things. So I want that to be known too. That is a main reason why I talked about this stuff.
Let me ask you this too, John. You said you were suicidal. You've cut yourself. You've done some bad things to yourself. What happens to the world if John Paul wakes up one morning and says, you know what? Today's the day, man. I just don't care no more. What happens?
I think I've evolved enough spiritually and mentally to not hurt other people, to not go down that road. Because I do believe in karma, too, either way. Even if I kill myself right afterwards, there's still some karmic payback. So I think if I woke up one day and said that, it would just be self-directed, and it would just be a just strictly suicidal situation. But I think I've gotten past actually wanted to act on hurting people. Okay,
good, man. I'm glad that you said that, and I'm glad that you feel that way. But definitely, I don't want you to commit suicide. I don't want to see you die. I've been affected by suicide in my life. My grandmother had committed suicide. Some cousins, my uncle, my brother. So suicide hits home. It's close to home when you talk about that. And I'm hopeful that you never get to that point. And there's people out there, man, that that you can contact, people that you can talk to, and you can go from there. So
yeah, thank you.
So on a serial killer tip, man, where do you think Arthur Shawcross, chalked up in the world on serial killers? Top 5? What do you think?
Let's see. I would say the admitted cannibalism puts him at least in the top 10. In my opinion, anyway. Certainly one of America's worst, most notorious serial murderers. Cannibalism for me puts him, right up there in the high top 10. Anyway, somewhere in there. That makes sense.
It's crazy, man. So usually, man, when I end this show, right, I ask people, man, what message they have for kids. And you kind of, you put out a little message there, and I'm just going to say, I don't think it's appropriate that I ask you for a message for kids, but you did give a message in the video, right? And the message was, hey, look, it's a dark place. Don't do it. Don't go there. Yeah. So, that's a message not just for kids, but for everybody, right?
For everybody, of course. Yeah, of course.
It's dangerous.
Definitely.
Man. And, I think people are going to hit you up with questions on here, so I want you to respond. If there's any questions that people want me to bring you back on and ask, man, are you willing to come back on the show?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Well, listen, man, I want to see you do the right thing, man. That's why I'm interviewing you. And when you had contacted me, you told me, hey, there were some other people that had contacted you and whatever, but they didn't, once they read about you, they didn't want to come on the show. They were a little bit afraid, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not the type of dude that gets scared easy. You don't seem like the type of dude that gets scared easy either. But
Right. Yeah.
I'm glad we did it. I'm glad I was able to bring you on the show, man. And
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm gonna close the show. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. We bring it real. We bring it raw. And we bring people on this show that other people don't. Until tomorrow, we're out.